Most people remember their first day at a new job because of nerves, paperwork, or maybe the free donuts in the break room. I remember mine because my boss winked at me before I even learned where the bathroom was. I'd barely stepped into the glass lobby of Morrow and Slate Advertising when she appeared. Avery Langford, creative director, reigning queen of chaos, and apparently the woman responsible for every stressed-out employee pacing the hallway. She wasn't what I expected from upper management. She wasn't even what I expected a human being to look like at 8:03 a.m. on a Monday. Her dark hair fell in loose waves. Her fitted blazer looked like it had been tailored specifically to ruin careers, and her heels clicked with the kind of confidence that made you stand up straighter without meaning to. "Morning. You must be the new copywriter." Her voice was smooth, too smooth, like someone who knew exactly how to use it. I nodded, trying not to look like an idiot. "Yeah, I'm Ethan." "Good. I like Ethan." She smiled, and I swear that smile alone should have come with a warning label. Then she added, "Try not to quit before lunch. We've got a rough day." She walked off, and I followed her like a confused puppy because that's exactly what I was. My brain kept trying to catch up. She likes Ethan? What does that even mean? She said it so casually, like it was scientifically proven. Inside the bullpen, the team looked half alive, like people who'd spent too much time fighting for their lives in brainstorming sessions. Someone handed me a welcome gift bag containing a branded pen, a notebook, and, concerningly, 2 packets of painkillers. "Don't worry," a guy named Marcus whispered. "Those aren't for headaches. They're for Avery." "That bad?" "Worse. You'll see." Avery clapped her hands. "All right, team. Our new client wants a full pitch by tomorrow morning. And since I refuse to age prematurely, we're going to nail this in one go." Everyone groaned. Avery ignored them. She turned toward me with that same smile that felt like flirting even if it wasn't meant to be. "Ethan, you're with me." I followed her into her office, which, to my surprise, wasn't an office at all. It looked more like the personal lair of someone who drank ambition for breakfast. Whiteboards covered in notes, storyboards pinned everywhere, and a coffee machine that probably cost as much as my car. "Sit," she said, motioning to the chair across from her desk. I sat. "Tell me why you're here." "Because you hired me?" I offered. She grinned. "Okay, so you're funny. I like that." I swallowed. "I try." "Good. This industry needs people who try not to cry under pressure." I wasn't sure if she was joking or warning me. She leaned forward on her elbows, eyes sharp. "I need fresh ideas." Younger voice. "Someone who can write like they actually go outside." "I go outside," I protested. "Wonderful. You're already surpassing half the team." My face warmed, and I didn't want it to, but Avery had a way of pulling reactions out of me like she was flipping switches. We jumped straight into brainstorming. Well, I brainstormed. She paced. She would throw out concepts at lightning speed. Too boring. Too safe. Too sad. "Are you trying to depress our client?" At one point, she bent over my chair to read my laptop screen, her hand brushing my shoulder. It was innocent. Completely innocent. Except my brain forgot how to function. "You type fast," she murmured, so close I could smell her perfume. "Warm. Sharp. Impossible to ignore." "Thanks." My voice cracked like I was 13 again. She smirked. "Relax. I don't bite on weekdays." "Great. Fantastic. Perfect." My boss flirted like breathing. Hours passed in chaotic rhythm, and by late afternoon the team stared at us like we were leading them into battle. Avery stood at the front of the room, firing instructions and teasing employees with the precision of someone who weaponized charm for productivity. Then came the moment. Marcus accidentally spilled iced coffee over a stack of printouts. Avery turned, narrowed her eyes, and said, "If you wanted my attention, Marcus, you could have just asked. But I'm married to work. Ethan here is the one with the crush." I choked on my water. The room exploded with laughter. Avery winked at me. It was teasing, obviously, but everyone looked at me like I'd just been publicly picked as her favorite. And the worst part? A part of me liked it. By 6 p.m., the office emptied. Avery stayed behind, typing furiously at her desk. I gathered my things and tried to leave quietly. "Ethan," I froze. "Yeah." She leaned back in her chair, stretching her arms above her head. unfairly elegantly, I might add. Good work today. You kept up better than most on their first day. Thank you. And her eyes softened just a little. Don't let the teasing scare you off. I mess with people I trust. Do you trust me already? I asked before my brain could stop me. She tilted her head. I trust your potential. I smiled because even that strange half-compliment felt like winning something. She smirked again, not as sharp this time, but warmer. Get some rest, Ethan. Tomorrow, we actually start doing the hard stuff. Walking out of the building, one thought followed me like a neon billboard. My boss was way too flirty to be professional, and I already knew I was in trouble. By day 2, I had already learned 2 important things. Avery didn't walk anywhere. She glided, like gravity treated her differently. Everyone in the office had collectively surrendered to her chaos years ago. I arrived early, hoping to avoid attention, but the universe has never liked me that much. Avery popped her head out of her office just as I sat down. There you are, she said, pointing at me with her coffee cup. My favorite new recruit. I blinked. There are no other new recruits. She gave me a smug look. Exactly. Before I could figure out whether that counted as favoritism or bullying, she waved me over. Avery, I just sat. Walk and talk, Ethan. Movement keeps the brain alive. She dragged me into her office, again, this time with a stack of files under her arm. She tossed them on my desk. Today, she announced dramatically, we begin your survival training. That sounds encouraging. It shouldn't. She took a sip of her coffee. All right, lesson 1. I hate silence. If I'm thinking, I'm talking. If I stop talking, check my pulse. I nodded, even though I wasn't sure how seriously to take that. Lesson 2. I tease to motivate, not to traumatize. Mostly, I raised an eyebrow. She gave me a playful glare. Don't look at me like that. You did great yesterday. You didn't cry once. That's the bar. For entry level? Absolutely. I laughed because, against all logic, she made everything sound fun, even when it wasn't. In lesson 3, she said, flipping open a folder, I expect brilliance. Not perfection. Brilliance. That seems harder. It is, but it's also more interesting. There was again that spark in her eyes whenever she talked about creativity, ambition, pushing limits. You couldn't help but get pulled into it. We dove into work, or more accurately, Avery dove, and I tried to swim behind her without drowning. After an hour of brainstorming ideas for a fitness campaign, she suddenly stopped, turned to me, and asked, Ethan, do you always scrunch your eyebrows like that when you're thinking? I do. She walked over, leaned close, and poked the spot between my eyebrows. There, that little crease. It's adorable. I nearly malfunctioned. Adorable. She raised an eyebrow. Do you prefer charming? Endearing? Choose your poison. I was pretty sure my brain blue screened right there. Before she could roast me further, Marcus barged in. Avery? Quick question. She didn't even look at him. If it's about the printer, I didn't break it. Marcus looked offended. I didn't say you did. You were thinking it. I really wasn't. You always think it. Marcus sighed deeply and backed out of the room like he was escaping a crime scene. Avery smirked. He blames me for everything. Do you break everything? Absolutely. The rest of the morning was a strange mix of chaos, creativity, and borderline unprofessional flirting that I pretended not to notice. At noon, Avery slammed her laptop shut. Lunch. I brought food, I said, patting my bag. Oh, that's cute, she said. You think I'm giving you a choice? Before I could respond, she grabbed her coat. Come on, we're doing team bonding. Just the 2 of us? Yes. I bond in small doses. We walked down the street to a tiny cafe that looked like the kind of place hipsters went to write novels they'd never finish. Avery ordered something elaborate that required at least 3 words I'd never heard before. While we waited, she rested her chin on her hand and asked, So, Ethan, why advertising? I shrugged. I like stories. I like finding ways to make people feel something. She nodded slowly. Good answer. Honest. What about you? I asked. She smirked. I like control. I choked on my water. She laughed, really laughed. Not the snarky kind, but an actual laugh that made her eyes soften. You should see your face. You can't just say things like that, I said, flustered. Why not? It's true. Stories shape the world. Whoever shapes the story has the power. And I like power. You say that like a villain. She leaned forward, voice low. Every successful woman has a little villain in her. Men just like to pretend they're scared of it. My heartbeat made a questionable decision. Lunch went surprisingly well. We talked, teased, argued about fonts. She insisted Helvetica had feelings. I said it didn't, and somehow ended up laughing through most of it. Walking back, she nudged me with her shoulder. You're fun to hang out with. I'm trying not to be boring. You're not. Trust me. If you were boring, I would have fired you by now. You can't fire me. I just got here. I can do whatever I want, she said sweetly. I believed her. When we returned to the office, a surprise awaited us. The CEO was standing in the hallway. Mr. Roland Slade himself, tall, intimidating, known for firing people as casually as deleting emails. He spotted us. Avery. A word. Avery muttered, "Oh, fantastic," under her breath and motioned for me to stay put. I watched her walk into a conference room with him. I couldn't hear the conversation, but I saw the tension. Roland was stern. Avery was calm, almost too calm. When she finally came out, she looked irritated. Not angry, not stressed, just irritated. What happened? I asked quietly. She waved a hand. Nothing. He's dramatic. Avery. It's fine. Really. Then she glanced at me and forced a smile. Come on. We got a pitch to finish. But the energy had shifted. She wasn't as playful, not as sparkly. Still charming, still sharp, but her spark dimmed just enough for me to notice. And something clicked in my chest, an instinct I didn't expect. I wanted to protect her. Ridiculous. She didn't need protecting. Avery could fend off a bear with sarcasm alone. But still, I didn't like seeing her shaken. Later, as everyone was packing up for the night, Avery stopped at my desk. Ethan. Yeah. Her voice was softer than usual. Thanks for today. For what? For being normal. I laughed. I've never been called normal before. She gave a tiny smile. Well, don't get used to it. She turned to leave but paused. And Ethan, her eyes, usually mischievous, held something warm, something careful. You're going to do well here. Then she walked away. And I stood there, knowing exactly what my problem was. My boss was too flirty, too charming, and now, apparently, too human for me not to care. By the end of my first week, I had mastered exactly 3 things at Morrow and Slate. How to dodge Marcus's daily printer complaints. How to keep a straight face when Avery said something wildly inappropriate at 9 a.m. How to pretend I wasn't developing a crush on my boss at Lightspeed. The third one was going terribly. On Friday morning, I arrived early again, partly to be productive, mostly to mentally prepare for whatever fresh chaos awaited me. I didn't even make it to my desk before Avery appeared behind me, like a caffeinated ninja. Ethan, I yelped. She smirked. You scare easily, she said, stepping in front of me. That's cute. I thought you wanted me to toughen up. Oh no, she said brightly. I want you to toughen up, but I like watching you jump. She brushed past me, letting her hand graze my arm, something she did often enough that I couldn't tell if it was intentional or just part of her I walk wherever I want and touch whoever is in the way philosophy. Follow me, she said, to my office. Emergency creativity session. At 8:30? Yes. Inspiration keeps strange hours. Move. We walked in her office, and she immediately shut the door, then locked it. I blinked. Avery. She turned around, expression serious. We're reworking the pitch. Oh, we're doing it alone. Oh, she leaned back against her desk, arms crossed. Unless you have somewhere else to be. No, I'm free. Good. Sit. I sat. She studied me for a moment, longer than necessary, and then said, Don't look so nervous. If I planned to murder you, I wouldn't do it in my office. Too much paperwork. I laughed, even though my heartbeat didn't fully trust her. Avery grabbed a marker and started pacing in front of the whiteboard. Her confidence was magnetic. Everything she did was sharp, deliberate, precise. Even the way she uncapped the marker felt like a performance. Okay, she said. Show me what you've got. I opened my laptop, hands slightly shaky, and started reading out the ideas I'd written overnight. She stopped pacing, turned, looked at me. Ethan, my throat tightened. Yeah, this is good. What? Really good. I blinked at her like I'd forgotten how compliments work. You're improving faster than I expected, she went on. It's almost suspicious. Are you trying to impress me? I mean, you're my boss. I should probably try not to disappoint you. Disappoint me? She grinned. Oh, you couldn't disappoint me unless you actively tried. That's an intense amount of trust. No, she corrected. That's an intense amount of observation. She moved closer, close enough that I could smell her perfume again. Warm, sharp, impossible to ignore. Ethan, she said softly, you're good. Don't downplay it. I looked anywhere except her eyes. Bad idea. Everywhere I looked, the way she stood, the way she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, the way she smirked every time she caught me staring was worse. So, she said suddenly, any weekend plans? Laundry. She laughed. Thrilling. How about you? She paused, then shrugged. I usually work. No social life? I have one, she said. It's just on life support. I raised an eyebrow. You? The woman who intimidates half the city. She leaned one hip against the desk, smirking. I don't intimidate people. Okay, you terrify them. That's better. But seriously, I said, you don't go out? She shrugged. Dating while being in charge is complicated. I swallowed. Hard. Complicated how? She shot me a look, one with an edge I hadn't seen before. People misread things. Misread what? My personality, she said lightly. My teasing. My jokes. My charm. They think I'm flirting when I'm not. Oh, my stomach did something unpleasant. Yeah, that must be annoying. She tilted her head. Why do you sound disappointed? I don't. I said way too quickly. Her eyes narrowed, just slightly. You sure? I coughed. Totally. She didn't believe me. I could tell. But she let it go for now. For the next few hours, we worked intensely. Ideas bounced back and forth. Markers squeaked across the board. Coffee cups multiplied somehow. Avery's energy filled every corner of the room. When she was focused, she was unstoppable. Then, just before noon, something unexpected happened. Avery sat on the edge of her desk, sighed, and took off her heels. That's it, she groaned. I'm declaring war on stylish footwear. I laughed. They hurting that bad? Oh, you have no idea. She pointed her foot at me. These things are torture devices. Without thinking, I said, want me to, get you flats or something? She raised an eyebrow. Are you offering to shoe shop for me? I mean, if you need help. She laughed. Relax. I'm not sending you out on a fashion mission. She stretched her toes, then caught me staring. What? She asked. Nothing. Ethan. Really? Nothing. She smirked. You're a terrible liar. Before I could die of embarrassment, Marcus knocked on the door. Avery, he called. The client wants the revised concept by 2. Avery rolled her eyes. Of course they do. She stood up, slipping her heels back on with a sigh. Tell them we'll have it. Marcus nodded and left. Avery turned to me. Ready? For the client? I asked. For the battlefield, she corrected. Let's go wow them. The meeting went well. Really well. So well that the client actually applauded. Avery shot me a proud smile that made something in my chest melt. Afterwards, while everyone was packing up, she came to my desk again. Walk with me. We ended up outside the building, standing under the awning as cars passed by. She crossed her arms. You did great today. Thanks. Ethan, I need to ask you something. My stomach tightened. Okay. She hesitated, a rare sight. Avery didn't hesitate. Ever. Are you comfortable working with me? She asked quietly. Yes, I said instantly. You're sure? Yes. She looked at me, really looked at me. Because I know I'm intense. You are, I said honestly. But I can handle it. A small, fragile smile flickered across her face. Good. Then she added something I wasn't prepared for. I don't want you to misread me. My heart sank. Misread you. She nodded. I tease. I joke. I flirt. It's how I connect. It doesn't mean anything. Oh, she saw my expression and softened. Ethan, it's not personal. I just don't want you to get the wrong idea. Too late. Before I could respond, she lightly touched my arm. You're important to the team, she said, and I like working with you. So let's keep things uncomplicated. I forced a smile. Yeah, of course. She smiled back, professional, polite, distant. Then she walked away. And for the first time since meeting her, I realized something painful. Avery flirted with everyone, but I was the one who fell for it. Over the weekend, I tried to be normal. I did my laundry, cleaned my apartment, bought groceries, and absolutely failed to stop thinking about Avery telling me not to misread her. It replayed in my mind like a bad movie track on loop. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even disappointed. I was just confused, because if she didn't want mixed signals, she should stop sending them like postcards. By Monday, I convinced myself to be professional, focused, detached. That lasted exactly 8 minutes. I was filling my water bottle when Avery stormed into the office like she'd just fought a war. Hair in a messy bun, blazer unbuttoned, iced coffee in one hand, a folder under her arm. When she spotted me, she froze. Then straightened her blazer, smoothed her hair, and put on her usual confident smirk, like she remembered who she was at the last second. "Morning, Ethan." "Morning." She blinked, waiting for something. I wasn't sure what, but I kept my face neutral. "Professional." She narrowed her eyes. "Why do you sound like you're calling into jury duty?" "I am just saying good morning. That's not how you usually say it." "Oh," I said. I didn't realize there were rules. Her eyebrows shot up. "Wow, someone woke up spicy." I tried not to smile. Failed. Avery huffed dramatically and marched to her office. But as the day went on, I realized something. She kept looking at me. During meetings, during brainstorming, when I was typing, when I wasn't typing, she'd steal these little glances, quick and guarded, like she wasn't supposed to care but couldn't help checking if I was okay. By noon, she finally snapped. "Ethan, my office." "Now." I frowned. "Did I do something wrong?" "Yes," she said. "You're being weird." "I'm being weird." "Yes." "I don't like it." "Fix it." I followed her inside. She shut the door, then crossed her arms and stared me down. "Talk," she ordered. I raised my hands. "About what?" "Whatever's making you act like you're writing a resignation letter in your head." I sighed. "Avery, you told me not to misread you, so I'm just trying to give you space." "Oh my God." She rubbed her forehead. "That's why you're acting like a robot?" "I'm just trying to be respectful." "Respectful?" "Ethan, you're acting like I bit you. You basically told me you don't want me to think you're flirting." "I always flirt," she snapped. "It's part of my personality." "I know," I said quietly. "That's why I'm trying not to take it seriously." Avery opened her mouth, then froze. Her eyes changed. Not annoyed, not mocking, conflicted. "Ethan," she said slowly, "I didn't mean I don't like you." My heart stuttered. "What?" "I meant, I don't want to cross a line and ruin your job. Or my job. Or everything." "Oh," she sighed, dropping into her chair. "This is why I hate being in charge. I can't even be myself without worrying I'm creating HR disasters." "You're not," I said. She shot me a flat look. "Ethan, I told you not to misread the flirting, and you backed away." I blinked. "You sound offended." "I'm offended." She pointed at me. "Do you know how rare it is for me to explain myself? I could count on one hand how many times it's happened." I sat across from her. "Avery, I wasn't avoiding you. I was avoiding trouble." Her expression softened. "You think I'm trouble?" "Yes," I said honestly. 100%. Avery stared at me. Then a slow smile crept across her lips. That might be the most accurate thing anyone's ever said about me. We sat there in a strange silence. Heavy, charged, but not uncomfortable. Just different. Then she said something I never expected. "Let's get out of here." "What?" "What?" "Because staying here means overthinking," she said. "And you're already doing too much of that." "Where are we going?" "Somewhere that doesn't involve office walls. Grab your coat." Before I could argue, she was already walking toward the elevator. 10 minutes later, we were at a rooftop bar 3 blocks away, the kind with mood lighting, quiet music, and a view of the city that made everything look softer. "Isn't it too early for this?" I asked as she handed me a drink. "It's 5 o'clock somewhere," she said, clinking her glass against mine. "Besides, this is not a date. This is recalibration." "Recalibration." "Yes. Like resetting a malfunctioning computer." "So I'm malfunctioning now?" "Obviously," she said. "You're overthinking me, and I'm overthinking you. Terrible combination. Fixing it." Avery took a sip, then looked at me. really looked at me again. Ethan, she said gently, I tease you because I like seeing you relax. Not because I'm trying to manipulate you. I didn't think you were, I said. You did, she said. And that's okay. But hear me clearly. I don't want you to walk on eggshells around me. I want you to be yourself. And what about you? I asked softly. Are you being yourself? Her lips parted just slightly. For a moment, she didn't look like the intimidating creative director. She looked human, vulnerable. Avery, I asked. She exhaled. I'm always myself. That's the problem. We sat in quiet tension, the dim lights casting soft shadows around us. That's not a problem, I said quietly. I like who you are. Her eyes flickered, sharp surprise, then warmth. She swallowed hard, then leaned closer. Careful, Ethan, she said softly. You're making dangerous statements. Maybe I'm tired of playing safe, I murmured. Her breath caught. Don't. I'm not misreading you, I said firmly. Not anymore. Avery looked at me like no one had ever said that to her before. Then she whispered, Ethan, if I were anyone else, I'd kiss you right now. My pulse stopped. But I'm your boss, she added. And that means I can't. Neither of us moved. Neither of us looked away. The rooftop lights glowed behind her like a halo. Then she said, a little breathlessly, but I also can't pretend I don't feel something. The air between us thickened. Electric, warm, dangerous. She leaned in. Not all the way. Just close enough to let me feel her intention. Does that help your recalibration? She whispered. I exhaled shakily. Not even a little. She smiled. A slow, conflicted, devastating smile. Good, she said softly. Maybe you're not misreading me anymore. We stayed there until the sun started to set, talking about everything and nothing. Work, dreams, fears, mistakes. Every wall she had built. Every shield of sarcasm, softened piece by piece. And by the time we walked back to the office, something between us had undeniably changed. The line we were supposed to avoid, we were standing right on it. And we both knew it was only a matter of time before we crossed it. Tuesday morning felt different. Not dramatically, not obviously, but enough that I felt at the moment I walked into the office. Like the air was charged with something unspoken, something waiting. Avery wasn't in yet, which was unusual. She was always early, always caffeinated, always ready to cause mild emotional damage before 9 a.m. Without her, the office felt quiet, too quiet. When she finally walked in, she paused at the door as if she was bracing herself. Then she spotted me. Her expression softened instantly. Morning, Ethan. Not playful, not teasing, not flirty. Soft. It absolutely ruined me. Morning, I said, trying to sound normal. She approached my desk. Can we talk later? Sure. Lunch. Okay. She nodded, relief flickering across her face, then walked to her office, shutting the door behind her. That was new. Avery never hid. If she shut the door, it meant she needed space or she was overthinking. Probably both. The team tiptoed around her all morning, too scared to interrupt whatever storm was brewing behind that glass panel. Meanwhile, I pretended to work while actually rereading last night's conversation over and over in my head. If I were anyone else, I'd kiss you right now. Those words lived in my brain like they paid rent. At noon, her door opened. Ethan, let's go. We walked 2 blocks to a small Italian place, the kind with string lights and brick walls, and a distinct possibility of romantic misunderstandings. Avery didn't seem to notice, or maybe she did and didn't care. We sat in a booth. She took a breath like she was about to dive underwater. Okay, she said quietly. Let's talk. I nodded, waiting. She looked down at her hands, another rarity. About last night, I want to be clear. Okay, I meant what I said. My chest tightens. Which part? She glared. Don't make me say the kissing thing out loud. I smiled despite myself. All right, fair. But, she continued, I need you to understand why I'm cautious. I do, I said. You're my boss. It's more than that, she said. People talk. People assume. And I've worked too hard to let anyone think I'm using my position to flirt with employees. I didn't think that, I said firmly. I know you didn't, she said. But the world loves drama, and I don't want to drag you into it. I nodded slowly. So what are we supposed to do? She exhaled. We either draw a boundary or accept that we're crossing one. A beat. Avery looked up at me, and for the first time, she looked scared. Ethan, she whispered, I don't want to hurt you. You won't. I might, she said. I've ruined connections before. I get too intense, too demanding, too honest. I offered. She froze. Honest. You're not good at pretending you don't care, I said. You try, but you're terrible at it. Avery blinked, caught. Then she whispered, You think I care? I know you do. She swallowed hard. That's the problem. Before I could respond, the waiter arrived with our food. We waited until he left, both of us staring at our plates like they held answers. Then Avery said, barely above a whisper, I don't want to stop. I looked up. Stop what? Whatever this is, she said. Whatever we're doing, I don't want to stop. My breath caught. Then don't. You say that like it's simple. Maybe it is. She shook her head. It's not. My reputation, your career, office politics, HR policies, gossip, power imbalance. I know all that, I said, and I still want this. Avery closed her eyes like the admission physically hit her. Ethan, she whispered, you're going to make this impossible. I thought we already reached impossible, I said with a small smile. She didn't smile back. She looked torn, pulled between desire and fear, caution and instinct. Finally, she said, let's try something. Okay. No flirting at work. I snorted. You're incapable of that. She glared. I can behave. You cannot. I can try, she said. At least until I know this isn't a disaster waiting to happen. And outside of work? I asked. Her eyes flicked to mine. Outside of work, we see what happens. Oh. My pulse skyrocketed. So, I said, does this mean we're... It means, she interrupted, I'm giving us a chance. Carefully. I nodded. Carefully. Slowly, she added. Slowly. She pointed a fork at me. And if you tell anyone, I will deny everything and then fire you. I laughed. That's fair. She paused. Then her gaze softened. Ethan, thank you. For what? For not being scared of me. I'm scared of you, I said, but in like a healthy way. She burst out laughing, really laughing, and I suddenly felt gravity shift back into place. After lunch, we walked back quietly. She didn't touch me, didn't tease, didn't send sparks down my spine with a glance. She was being professional, painfully professional. But when we reached the office building, she stopped just before the door. Ethan, yeah. She hesitated, another crack in her armor. Tonight, she said softly. You free? My heartbeat picked up. Yes. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Come over. The world narrowed. Completely. To your place. I confirmed. She nodded. For what? She smirked, but it wasn't her mischievous one. It was gentler, more intimate. To talk, she said, and to see where this goes. Off the clock. I swallowed hard. Okay. She stepped inside, letting the door close between us. And for the rest of the day, neither of us could focus. Because tonight wasn't just a conversation. It was a choice. A step over the line we had been circling for days. A moment we both knew would change everything.